Hey everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. Today I wanted to just have a bit of a discussion and go on a bit of the speculation train, as I love to do sometimes, about Master Difficulty. Now this is an upcoming piece of content and just feature that is coming to the Division 2 that I know a lot of players have had a lot of thoughts about, a lot of curiosities, given that we don't have a ton of details thus far. So I figured today we would just go over what we know so far, and I would give some of my thoughts on what we might see. I'm doing this live while playing some PvP, because what better combo than to talk about endgame PvE content than to run some conflict, you know? So that should be all good, and if you want to see future Division 2 videos like this and more on Master Difficulty once we do hear about it officially, I hope you'll consider clicking that subscribe button if you haven't already. But let's start out with what we know about Master Difficulty. What is this? In case you haven't heard about it, it is a new difficulty setting that is going to be coming to the Division 2. We first learned about it with the various Year 6 plans and communications given to us by the dev team. So that included both the Year 6 trailer that we got at Ubisoft Forward, as well as the article that they released on the Division 2's official website. As I said, it's a new feature and difficulty setting that is coming with Seasons 2.0. That is arriving with Year 6 Season 2, the update that is coming next up for the game in roughly mid-October. What it is a new difficulty setting that is going to be available for climax missions only. Now, if you don't know what those are, that is the term that the devs use for the finale missions for each season. So like how Year 5 Season 2, we have the recruiter mission at Camp White Oak. Then last season, we had the mission at the stranded tanker in New York for Kelso. This season, we're going to have Keener's mission. Those are climax missions. They've said that is the only type of mission and content in the game so far that is going to be getting Master Difficulty. So this isn't something that you should expect to suddenly be available on all missions across the game. Like I said, it's specifically going to be for those. Other than that, the only real details we have from them is that it is obviously going to be challenging content. This is a high tier of difficulty they're releasing, and that it's going to be scaled for 4 players specifically. You know, similarly to how incursions are scaled for 4 players, that doesn't mean that you have to have 4 people to take it on, but that is what it's scaled for in terms of enemy difficulty, mechanics, all of that. Now, before we get into my specific thoughts and ideas about what we might see in Master Difficulty, I think one important topic to go over is how this is going to differ from Legendary difficulty. That's a big question and topic that I've seen a lot of people get into already, because we already have, you know, Legendary is said to be like the difficulty. It's like the hardest challenge in the game, at least when you're talking about regular content that doesn't have a bunch of intricate mechanics such as raids, incursions, that kind of stuff. So many people question is, what's the point really, or what can Master Difficulty do differently that's going to challenge us in different ways than Legendary can? I have a few different thoughts there. For one, Legendary isn't a specific challenge, and what I mean by that, I don't mean it's not a challenge, it absolutely is, but it's not like I was just saying, it's not like a raid or incursion where it's a puzzle to be solved, where you have to do all of these specific mechanics to beat the fight. It's really just the game saying, here is our difficulty sliders that we have maxed out. See what you can do with your builds, right? And that's why it's so universally applicable to the different missions that it's in, and the summit is because they can just put in the NPCs as they are with their own challenges, and there's no specific mechanics. The other main component to Legendary, as I just said, is that it's only one faction. Legendary only features the White Tusk, and that inherently, you know, differs it from some of the other content we have in the game. And that is the basis from which I want to give some of my speculation and predictions here on Master Difficulty. Firstly, I think that compared to Legendary Difficulty, which like we just said, is more of a general difficulty check rather than having a lot of intricate and specific mechanics, I imagine that each Master Difficulty mission we get is going to be more unique and have a specific kind of challenge to it, like we've seen them already do with the climax missions themselves. You know, think about the one we got for Season 11, where every enemy was robotics, right? There wasn't a single troop enemy within that mission. You go to Coney Island, you find, what was his name, Stovepipe, that's already dead, and then you fight robotics all the way back until you fight Sparkles. That was, you know, not necessarily a mechanic, but it was just a uniqueness to it compared to other missions that we had in the past. Or think about the Recruiters mission in Year 5 Season 2. How there was the different turret gates they had shut down. Then, of course, the recruiter fight itself was pretty unique in the invulnerability phase, where you lost your connection to the Shade Network and then in turn loses your HUD. Things like that, I think they're going to capitalize on and emphasize even more when it comes to the Master Difficulty version of these climax missions. I think they're definitely going to play into that, and on the scale of 4 players, make that as challenging as it can be. And in a similar way to how incursions and raids are, I imagine that these things are going to play a little bit like puzzles. It won't be like you can walk right in and just expect what's going to happen in every room. You're probably going to have to, you know, with your group of 4, if you choose to go in with that many people, figure out the mechanics, figure out what's best for each room, each challenge, each section. And on that note, another way in which hopefully we'll see some diversity with these master difficulty missions is that, unlike Legendary, they will probably be able to feature any faction in the game. Now, that depends on where the story goes. I'm trying to think of the last time we had anything other than Black Tusk in the climax missions. I mean, I guess we have the True Sons partly in the last season's finale mission just because of the alliance that they have with the Black Tusk, but it does seem like Black Tusk is very heavily featured in these, as makes sense for the story, so we'll see. But again, I imagine if the story ever goes in any other direction, they can then fill that faction in for master difficulty, and that'll be cool to see something, you know, on the equivalency of legendary difficulty. That was a nice flank there, I can't even lie. But I imagine that they will be able to fit in, like I said, any faction into there. And, you know, just imagine if we ever got something with the Hyenas or the Outcasts. Like, that would be pretty cool, and that would probably feel a bit different than the legendary type of challenges that we're used to. The only other thing to really talk about, I think, is rewards. How are they going to make master difficulty worth it in the context of all the other difficult endgame content that we have in the game? As always, I think cosmetics is a really smart way to go, and, you know, I want to say easy way to go. Of course, nothing is easy in game dev. It all takes work, it all takes time, but exclusive cosmetic rewards in the same way that Legendary, the original 3 in this game, had them too, with the, I forget what it's called in here, but like the White Tusk outfit that you can claim. That got a lot of people playing that stuff because it was a very cool outfit, right? And so if they do something similar to where every master difficulty mission has its own unique cosmetic to be earned, I feel like that would motivate a lot of endgame players to go and do it, because then you get to show that accomplishment off. That's what I think is always really smart about cosmetic rewards. So we'll see if they want to do something like that for master difficulty. I'm sure they'll also do a thing where you get a higher percentage chance to get exotics, or maybe you get an exotic cache for the first one you do each week, stuff like that. Oh, 2-piece. Super long reload. Super awkward. There we go. But yeah, reward side, hopefully they've got something good planned out there, as I think that's always a good thing to think about going into it. There we go, people. But yeah, for the most part, guys, that is all of the thoughts that I have to share with you on master difficulty. Again, until we learn a bit more concrete information, and honestly, until we see the first one in action, you know, we'll have more to say then, for sure. For people wondering when that's going to be, the first one will be coming with Year 6 Season 2's finale, because that will be the first climax mission that we'll get post the release of Seasons 2.0. And so that should be happening right around the new year. Again, next season is currently set to begin on October 18th, I think the date is. And so the usual amount of time that it takes to get to the finale. They said, you know, in the FAQ that Seasons 2.0's new duration would be 15 weeks. We'll see if that's changed at all with some of the changes they're making with seasonal characters and whatnot. But anyway, around the new year, late December, early January is when we should be getting the climax for Year 6 Season 2, and in turn, the first master difficulty mission. So it's something to look forward to indeed, and I'm very excited to see what this new kind of difficulty and challenge has to bring to the Division 2. Should be quite exciting. All right, here we go to end the video. I have to get this 1v1, finish the reload. Oh, it's not a 1v1. Anyway, GG's. Who is claiming the spec drop? There we go. Got to get a flamethrower kill before the video's over. That's all I've got for this one, though, everybody. I would love to hear all of your thoughts and personal speculation on what you think Master Difficulty is going to be bringing to the Division 2 down in the comments below. I don't imagine it's something we're going to see in the PTS, as that would probably bring with it story spoilers, so it's most likely something we're going to have to wait to see until it launches, right? Which, like I said, should be towards the end of the year. No! That was tough. I did get my flamethrower kill, so I'm happy in the end. Anyway, folks, that's all I've got. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, RogueGold. Ow.